I just can't give it up. Yeah, yeah.
Yes sir, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, and in today's video, you guys can tell from the title, your boy finally bought a G35 Coupe. So what I have behind me is a 2004 VQ 3.5 Coupe. Now this is an automatic. Before I get roasted in the comments, hear me out. I bought this off a buddy of mine, gave me a great deal on this thing, was getting rid of it, didn't really have the use for it anymore. It's been sitting for about 2 years, and he just wanted to get rid of it. So, you know, your boy Don Squally always loves to buy derelict vehicles. So I know what a lot of you guys are thinking, am I going to be parting out this car? And short answer is no. I do have plans for this car. This is basically going to be my project car for the winter. Obviously, I'm going to be recording what I do to this car and putting it on YouTube for you guys. Now, I'm not going to go over what my plans are with this car in today's video. I am going to do probably a follow-up video maybe next weekend, just going over exactly what I plan to do with this car. Just today we're going to be doing a walk around of this car, introducing it to the channel basically, and letting you guys know that, hey, we finally got a coupe. So all you guys that were you know, saying, why don't you get a coupe, why don't you get a coupe? Well, the day's finally here. For all you coupe guys, well, we'll see. Some people are going to like what I have in mind for this thing, and some people aren't, but I think it's going to be a fun vehicle for the channel nonetheless. So I'm going to take the camera off the tripod right now, and we are going to do a little bit of a walk around. Now, I did just wash this thing. Like I said, it's been sitting for about 2 years, so it's grimy, it's black, the paint is like completely faded. Even after me washing it, you can still see it is quite faded. But yeah, I guess we'll just start with the front end. Now, this car was in an impact. You can see a trailer hitch went through the bumper right about there, I guess. Now the bumper's all pushed in and cracked over here. You can see the tail lights kind of just, or the headlight, sorry, just kind of flopping around. We got screws holding the grill in. So the front end really isn't in the greatest condition. I mean, if you step back and look at it, you're like, hey, wow, that's a sick G35 slammed and all that good stuff, right? But in reality, this thing is pretty clapped out, but that's okay. Like I say, what I have in mind for this thing, it doesn't need to be pretty. Actually, it helps if it isn't, to be quite honest. So that should give you guys a couple of hints. So yeah, coming around the side, the hood, you can see he's got like some janky paint on it. It's not closed right now. We're gonna pop the hood in a second, show you guys underneath the hood. Now it did come with a nice set of 18-inch coupe wheels, which is great. I don't know if I'm going to keep these and sell the 350Z wheels and put these on my sedan, but I do plan on getting some new wheels and tires for this thing, a little bit more aggressive, we'll say. So the brake setup, I believe these are the same size as my sedan brakes here. I was thinking if they're the Brembos, I might upgrade the ones on my car to whatever came on these, but this looks like it's a base model set of brakes. So this is basically the same as what I have on my car right now. This car did come lowered, as you can see. It is quite low. This thing has Teen street basis coilovers, essentially the exact same setup that I have on my G35 sedan. My set on my sedan at this point, I winter drove on those coilovers for a couple of winters, and they're starting to get a bit clapped out. I'm going to check out this set of coilovers and possibly take them off of this car and then put these on my car if they're any good, vice versa. But either way, I will have a set of coilovers because I am planning on putting a set of OEM suspension on this thing. A lot of you guys probably wondering now, the clocks, you know, the wheels are turning. What's Squally doing here? From the back, the rear end actually doesn't look that bad at all. We got a little bit of scuffing and scratching over there. Now this thing has a full OEM exhaust still, OEM cats, OEM resonator, muffler, so it's very quiet. It actually sounds like, you know, I remember the G35s when they first came out. They had that very low burbly sound, and this has got that sound because it's all OEM. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is these rear quarter panels. As you can see, these were pretty beat up, and whoever tried to fix them did you know, a pretty subpar job, but that's okay, because I do plan on doing, I don't want to give too much away, but we're either going to leave it the way that it is, or we're going to be doing a video basically showing you guys how to repair something like that. Now there is a lot of metal that'll have to be cut out here. I mean, essentially all the way from here to the back, and you know, we'd have to do the little L bracket down here and then up over here, but I'm not sure exactly if we're gonna do a super in-depth video with fixing that, or if I'm just gonna spray paint it with Plasti Dip and call it a day. Now this car does run and drive currently. It's overheating a little bit. It's running just a little bit hot, but there's no heat coming through inside the car, so I'm thinking it might be a low coolant. So we're gonna take it for a little bit of a rip around the block real quick, and then once it cools down, I'm gonna go ahead and check the coolant on this thing. So I guess we'll pop the hood now and show you what's underneath. Now we got a bit of binding at the back there where the fender meets the hood, but we have just a very basic, very old school VQ35 DE. This is a 2004, same year as my sedan. Now we do have an intake. Not exactly sure what kind of intake this is, but I am going to be selling this and putting on just a Don Squally custom, because this thing doesn't really need a cold air intake for what I'm going to be doing with it. Other than that, pretty much stock catalytic converters. Now we do have some damage to the front rad support here, which leads me to believe that there was we got some coolant leaking from that. Our coolant reservoir is kind of hanging, so I suspect the running hot has something to do with you know, coolant leaking or something like that. Maybe the radiator leaked, like needed to be replaced when they put all this back together, but nonetheless, I mean, tie straps all around. You know, this is not at all a clean G35, which is why it's going to be perfect for what I have planned for it. Again, we're not going to be getting too much into that in today's video, but it'll all make sense very shortly. So let's jump up inside this thing, make sure that I got the key, which I do not. Dang, Altima's looking dirty, just been sitting in the garage. Unfortunately, the gas prices these days got me parking up all of my VQs and driving the Honda Civic. I mean, it is slow as all hell, but at least it looks good. That's why you've been seeing some race videos on this thing, and then whatever, the Tundra is meh. So let's jump up inside this thing real quick. Now inside, not the greatest condition. Handle on the door panel came off. We got a rip in the seat here, rip in the center console. Does have the Bose system with no sub at the back. So I might be taking those speakers out and putting them in the Tundra. So yeah, interior very basic. Lots of ashes in here. But overall, it's, I mean, whatever. It's what you would expect for a budget G35. I'm not going to go over exactly what I paid for this thing, but if you guys know me, for these kinds of cars, I don't really pay that much, man. Let's just say it was much less than $1,000. So we're just going to go ahead, start her up. Sun's killing my shot right here. Sounds like the starter's going out or something. The hell was that? Okay, that was weird. There's some kind of rattling in the exhaust. It's like a heat shield. There's a heat shield or something I can hear. I have a feeling the exhaust was jarred a little sideways and touching the side here. But let's take her for a quick rip around the block. Got those dang old seat heaters in here. So there's a little bit of clunking that I'm hearing from the front end, but I do have lots of little like ball joints and suspension parts off of previous G35s that I've parted out. Definitely sounding a little rough. Now we're gonna have to do an investigation, take this thing into the garage, really see what's going on underneath this thing. But I mean, it runs, it drives, it goes into drive, it reverses, so can't really complain, especially for the price I paid. So we're just gonna give her a little beans up the hill here. Lots of rattling coming from the exhaust, but it's quiet, right? It's not bad. Now, I think I'm gonna keep the OEM mufflers, catalytic converters. I want this thing to be very quiet, and it'll all make sense probably in next week's video, man. But I mean, alternator's charging pretty good. We did have, oh, there it is. Alternator's charging pretty good. I did have to put a battery in it, so I ended up putting the battery from my sedan in this thing. And alternator's charging. I'm having a feeling, we're in reverse now, by the way, just show you guys that it runs, drives, goes into park, reverse, and all that good stuff. Now, see, you hear that clunking from the front end. I'm gonna have to investigate that. Now, this thing isn't gonna be going too far off of my property, so that should give you another hint. And yeah, man, it's oof, that front end is crunching. I don't like the sounds of that. We're gonna have to do some investigating about that. So what ultimately I'm thinking, shut the car off, you can see the heat seems to be running fine now. So I'm hearing this, sounds like the starter's not engaging properly, which leads me to believe there might be some teeth missing off the starter, which isn't a problem. I mean, as long as the car starts, then that's fine, right? And as long as it doesn't stall out. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. I mean, we've gone over pretty much everything that I wanted to go over. So the new G35 project car, this is not going to be a part out car. I mean, eventually, once this thing, you know, doesn't work for what I want or am gonna build it to do, then, you know, we'll get rid of it, we'll part it out. There's some good parts, the intake, the wheels, definitely. I got catalytic converters, stock exhaust. Maybe some guys want the stock exhaust. Not too many other parts. The bumpers are all trash, fenders are all trash, pretty much everything else is trash. But I'm thinking that's pretty much it for today's video. So yeah, your boy Don Squally's new G35 Coupe. Not the prettiest girl at the party, but you know what? But that's okay. Sometimes you just got to jump on a deal when it comes up. So yeah, if you guys do have any ideas what I have planned for this, I've dropped a couple of hints. Let me know down in the comments section. If you guys are stoked to see some G35 Coupe content, then smash that like button if you guys aren't subscribed yet. And you want to see more? Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. So I think we got all of the buttons out of the way now. So with that being said, I am your boy Dean Ali, aka Don Squally, and I just want to say thank you guys for watching. And as always, we're gonna catch y'all mofos at the next one, man. Peace.